Hello, Faith Leaders, and welcome to Breaktime. Today, Psalm 4:3 says, "Know that the Lord has set apart his faithful servant for himself. The Lord hears when I call on him." Now, before this, David was having problems with people creating a false reputation about him. And now he's sitting back and saying, "But I know that the Lord has set apart his faithful people for himself." And I can just hear David, in his mind saying these things. And I know that when I call upon the Lord, he's going to be there. He's never going to forsake me because God is faithful. And so here's what's really happening in the midst of his turmoil, in the midst of your turmoil, in the midst of my turmoil, when other people are trying to come after us and ruin our reputation, or maybe false accusations have been accused. You've been accused of false accusations. And just like David, know this, that you have been set apart as as his own. He's called you his own. And he's taken me, and he's set us apart. Here's the most beautiful thing, for himself. So his purposes in us can truly reign. So, even though you might be in one of those situations where the enemy's coming after you pretty heavily, remember that God takes every situation and uses it for his glory. The enemy is not victorious. He's a defeated foe. But he often tries to convince us that there's no way out of our situation. But remember that in the midst of no matter what situation that you're in today, that you are truly set apart for God. So think about it in terms that even in this situation, God, what is your purpose here? You have a purpose. And maybe it's to grow us. Maybe it's to minister to thousands of people around you. But God knows that because you are set apart for him, that he will use you. He will take the worst of the situation that you're in, and he's going to use it in some way to bring him absolute glory. And when that happens, it seems like lots of people are awakened to who he is. But you know what? It's hard to stay faithful in the midst of that situation, is it not? And here's where David's battle was, but he had a resource. He called out to the Lord in the midst of his troublesome time. He didn't allow his focus to become about other people and what was being said about him. He didn't allow that to become his focus, but he reached and called out to the Lord. So today, in the midst of your situation, call out. For God's promises, when you call out, he will answer. Have a blessed day.